River's Voice. Part 1. The River's Voice. This part focuses on 2 chapters. Chapter 1. The Whispering Banks. Obiora, a 12-year-old boy, feels a deep connection to the Niger River and listens to its whispers. His grandmother, Nne Ade, encourages him to listen deeper than sound 1. Chapter 2. Ekele-Oma. Obiora is chosen by the river to be the Ekele-Oma, the one who listens to the river's voice. He begins his journey of understanding and communicating with the river. Let's ride on. Chapter 1. The Whispering Banks. The sun rose slow and golden over Aboh-Ida, painting the sky in soft amber and washing the Niger River in liquid fire. Mist curled from the water like the breath of ancestors, winding through palm trees and wrapping itself around the thatched roofs of the village. Fishermen's songs echoed across the surface, low and rhythmic, as canoes sliced through the river's calm belly. Obiora sat on a large, flat rock by the water's edge, his feet dangling into the cool flow. He was 12, long-limbed and quiet-eyed, the kind of boy who watched more than he spoke. Around him, the river rippled gently, lapping against his ankles like it was trying to speak. He didn't know why he came here every morning, just that he had to. Behind him, Aboh-Ida stirred awake. Smoke lifted from cooking fires. Roosters crowed. A mother called for her son in a voice both sharp and soft. Life was beginning, as it always did. But Obiora only listened to the water, the breeze, the shifting hush of the trees. There was something beneath the ordinary sounds, something soft, something alive. "You're here early again," a voice said behind him. He turned to see Nne Ade, his grandmother, carrying a calabash bowl and wrapped in a faded indigo wrapper. Her silver hair was tied back, and her bare feet made no sound on the path. She smiled, the lines around her eyes folding like carefully kept secrets. "I was listening," Obiora said. "To what?" "The river." Nne Ade lowered herself beside him with a small grunt. She dipped her fingers into the water and closed her eyes. "What did she say?" he asked. Obiora hesitated. "I'm not sure. It's like she's whispering. But I don't know the words." "That's good," she said, surprising him. "To hear the river at all means your spirit is open." "But what's she saying?" "Not everyone can hear her," Nne Ade said, gazing out over the water. "But those who can must learn to listen deeper than sound." He frowned, unconvinced. "That doesn't make sense." She chuckled. "It's not supposed to. Not yet." Just then, a bell rang 3 times from the village square, a dull bronze echo carried by the wind. "The elders are gathering," Nne Ade said. "It's time." "Time for what?" She stood and reached out her hand. "To meet your calling." They walked back together, the narrow path between trees and huts already bustling with movement. Villagers were sweeping compounds, slicing vegetables, hauling water. But when they reached the iroko tree at the village center, all chatter stilled. The elders sat in a semicircle beneath its branches, dressed in deep brown and ochre robes, their faces marked with white chalk lines. At their center sat Elder Idu, tall and weathered, with a staff carved from ebony and inlaid with cowries. Obiora shifted closer to Nne Ade, who gently nudged him forward. Elder Idu rose. "Today," he began, "we honor an ancient pact. The river nourishes us. It remembers us. And in return, we choose one to remember her." The villagers murmured. "For many seasons, we have waited for the next Ekele-Oma. The river has been silent. But this season, she has whispered again. She has chosen." Obiora blinked as the elder's eyes turned to him. "You?" The word hung in the air like a suspended drumbeat. Obiora took a step back. "Me?" "No, I didn't," Elder Idu raised his hand. "Silence is the first mark. Listening is the second. Obiora, you have both. The river has claimed you." Nne Ade's hand rested on his shoulder again, grounding him. "Go to her," she whispered. "She's been waiting." That night, after the village had quieted and the sky filled with stars, Obiora sat by the river again. The wind rustled the tall grasses. Frogs croaked nearby. What does this mean? He asked aloud. Why me? A breeze stirred the water in circles. Somewhere deep, a hum began, not in his ears, but in his chest. He didn't understand it, not yet. But he stayed and listened. Chapter 2, Ekele-Oma. The morning after the naming, Obiora walked through the village like someone carrying a secret too big for his chest. Every greeting felt heavier than usual. The Pomtapa clapped him on the back and said, Ekele-Oma, you will talk to the spirit for us now, eh? Two young girls giggled and whispered as he passed. His friend Chuka, always eager with mischief, looked at him with something like awe and a little distance. He didn't feel any different. If anything, he felt smaller. When he reached Nne Ade's compound, she was already outside, grinding herbs in a wooden bowl. She looked up and smiled as if she'd been expecting him before he'd even decided to come. You're early, she said. I couldn't sleep. Good. The river rarely rests. Why should her listener? Obiora sat beside her in the shade of the ube tree. Why did they choose me? I don't know anything. Nne Ade paused in her grinding. You hear her, but I don't understand her. You will. She pulled a small calabash from her bag, filled with river stones. She shook them gently, then cast them into the dust between them. Look, she said. Obiora leaned forward. The stones had landed in a strange spiral, almost like a whirlpool frozen in earth. What do you see? He stared. I don't know. It's just a pattern. Patterns tell stories, she said. And the river is full of them. Your work is not to know everything now. It's to listen, remember, and ask the right questions. She handed him the calabash. Your first lesson begins at dusk. Come ready. That evening, they walked together along a narrow path that curved through the trees to a part of the riverbank Obiora had never visited. Vines hung thick like curtains, and the air smelled of earth and old stories. As they reached a bend, Nne Ade motioned for him to stop. Do you hear it? Obiora closed his eyes. He heard frogs, the breeze in the leaves, distant crickets. And underneath it all, something softer, a vibration, a rhythm. Yes, he whispered. It's like a song, but no words. Nne Ade nodded. That's the river's voice. Some hear it as wind, others as drums. You hear music. That is your gift. Obiora looked at her. What does she want from me? She wants you to remember her, to speak for her when others won't listen, to feel her wounds before they open. Nne Ade reached into her bag and brought out a long strip of cloth. She tied it around his eyes. You will learn to hear without saying, to know without proof. In darkness, Obiora felt the cool breeze stronger, the whispers of the river clearer. Somewhere nearby, the water lapped like gentle fingers tapping a drum. Tell me what you feel, she said softly. Sadness, he whispered. Why? I don't know. You don't have to know. You only have to feel and carry it. Later that night, as they sat around her fire, Obiora asked, Nne, who was the first Ekele-Oma? She smiled at the flames. Her name was Olioku. She was a child like you. The river saved her during a great flood, pulling her to safety when everyone thought she'd drowned. After that, she could hear the river speak, clearly, not like you or I. She warned the village of droughts, of illness, of invaders. She saved many lives. What happened to her? She disappeared, Nne Ade said quietly. Walked into the water one night and never came back. Obiora shivered. Why? No one knows. But she gave everything to protect her people. That is the burden of the Ekele-Oma, to speak for the river, even when others stop listening. Obiora stared into the fire. He wasn't sure he was ready for any of this. But he didn't say so. Because deep down, part of him had already begun to listen, not just with ears, but with something deeper. Something old. To be continued.